And right now at 6, hundreds of residents impacted by former Typhoon Halong being evacuated to Anchorage as people begin trying to process what happened and what is to come. That comes as the family of 71-year-old Vernon Pavel, who was reported missing from Quigillingok, now sharing this picture with us. Family also sharing pictures of his nephew, 41-year-old Chester Kashitok, who is also missing. Kashitok's mother, 67-year-old Ella May, who troopers confirmed was found in a house this week. Today, Senator Murkowski talked about the evacuation effort that is underway, and Governor Dunleavy described unimaginable conditions Halong has created.
A lot of houses were taken off their foundations. A lot of houses are floating down the river with people in them. The scene that was described to me was almost something out of a war zone, to be honest with you.
I got 300 people sitting on the floor of a C-130 because their villages have been inundated, and we got to find food and shelter.
Well, our team of reporters is standing by. More evacuees expected at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson as we hear from those currently sheltering at the Alaska Airlines Center. That, as well as our investigative team, hears from Anchorage's mayor on the plan for evacuees as Halong's impact is deeply felt on the first day of the Alaska Federation of Natives Convention. We're going to begin our investigative team's coverage with Rebecca Palsha. She's on the ground in Bethel. Hundreds of people in western Alaska, as we say, continue being evacuated. And Rebecca, I heard that some people have told you they have nothing to go back to.
Yeah, that is absolutely true, John. And one of the things I want you to see, this Chinook behind me is one of the key things that is getting people out of these villages. This one can seat like 30 people alone, which is super helpful to get here to Bethel to then get on that C-130. We have talked to so many people today. We have seen so many tears. We've heard about loss, about family history being lost, about homes being lost, everything you can imagine. It's been just heartbreaking. And we are going to show you some video. What you're looking at is a line of people who are getting on a C-17 to fly to Anchorage. Several hundred will arrive there today. Everyone you see here is from Kipnuk, where a former typhoon and the storm surge associated with it picked up homes, took some 4 or 5 miles away. Some washed out into the water. Now, you'll notice in this video that most people are only carrying one bag. Children have one doll or a stuffy. That's all they could take before the evacuation here to escape the dangers that were in Kipnuk.
It was just so fast. The water came up. When my window broke, I knew it was time to head to the school before it was too late.
There is a lot of debris, sewage is coming up. You'll see, because nothing can be buried because the ground it's a marsh, it's a tundra. So the caskets got washed away. There's stuff floating around, power lines in the water. Everything is either underwater or collapsing.
There are, of course, so many questions here about what happens next. People I spoke with say they want to come back. That clearly is not possible at this point. But people just don't know what's next, where the home is, and what they should be expected to do now.
Rebecca Palsha in Bethel for us tonight. Thank you, Rebecca. A third plane carrying evacuees from Bethel expected at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson very soon. Our team coverage continues. Joe Allgood is on J-Bear, updating us on when that big plane is expected to arrive. Joe.
Yeah, that's right. I'm standing here on the airfield at J-Bear, and behind me are C-17s like the one coming from Bethel. I'm going to step aside to give you a closer look. Officials with the state confirmed this is the largest airlift in the state's history. The first plane from Bethel arrived last night carrying 266 people. The second this morning carrying 210, and this one here is estimated to be carrying about 114 plus 8 pallets of luggage. That'll be arriving sometime within the next hour or two. Officials with the Red Cross also said they've begun transporting displaced people to the Egan Center rather than the original site at the Alaska Airlines Center. This new shelter is capable of housing about 2,000 people, according to Red Cross officials. Now, there's also been talks about some shelter facilities in Fairbanks in recent days, and Alaska's news source spoke with an official with the Fairbanks North Star Borough that said that currently there is no evacuation effort in that area underway right now. I asked state officials about that earlier today. They said that is the case, but they also said that Fairbanks isn't off the table. It's just more convenient to move everything here and consolidate those resources here in Anchorage. So we'll be awaiting that plane. when it arrives here in Anchorage. Joe Allgood, Alaska's News Source, back to you guys in the studio.
And once those planes arrive, hundreds of evacuees making their way to Anchorage shelter, as Joe mentioned. That includes UAA's Alaska Airlines Center, where Lauren Maxwell continues our complete coverage. Lauren, what are you seeing there?
You know, it's hard to say how many people are actually staying here. We've been asked not to go into the shelter in order to just help people preserve their privacy. But what I can tell you is yesterday, a team of volunteers came in and they set up cots. More than 330 is the number that we're hearing. So there is room for quite a bit of people, families and children. We've seen all of them coming and going for most of the afternoon. We did speak earlier with a man who is here with his wife and his 3 very young children, as well as about a dozen family members. All of them had been evacuated from the village of Quiggunaluk.
Just started floating off everything.
Including Harry Snyder's home. It landed on the riverbank.
Close to 5 miles, at least 3.
A long way away. The family fled to Snyder's parents' home when the storm started, but it wasn't long before the water rose there too.
My dad said, "Well, get up, there's water under the house."
He grabbed his parents, wife, and 3 children and hopped on their 4-wheeler, barely making it to the school.
That flood would have taken us.
If you had stopped.
Yeah, if I kept going.
As for his parents' house, only a bedroom wall lying on the ground. Somehow, his parents' photos still intact. Snyder says the hardest part is answering his children's questions about when they can go home.
Man, it was hard. It was hard for me to say, but I had to say something about it. I told them, "Babies, I'm sorry, the house is gone."
He says it's likely they'll be in Anchorage for a while.
We're going to start off scratch, start a new chapter.
He's not sure they can ever go back. Now, he actually told me that they were not allowed to take any luggage with them. They went for a brief stop in Bethel before they came into Anchorage. But it sounds like that military transport that we're waiting for on base does have people's belongings, at least a limited amount. They weren't able, obviously, to leave with very much. But we are told that people are getting what they need here at the shelter, whether it's food or clothing or medicine. And in fact, the Red Cross has pretty much have what they need right now. Then they're telling us if we could just get the word out, they don't need any more donations here for the time being, but they will let people know as time goes on. Back to you.
All right. Lauren Maxwell on UAA campus. Our investigative team learning this afternoon, Anchorage's mayor now expects the city to shelter thousands of evacuees by tomorrow. Johnson Kuhn asked the mayor if the city is prepared to house all these evacuees. Johnson, what'd she say?
That's right, John. The mayor told me this is a day-by-day response plan. By the end of today, Mayor LaFrance expects that 650 more evacuees to arrive. Now, that's on top of the 262 who have been sheltering here since yesterday. By tomorrow, she says she expects that total to reach 2,000 people. And with winter coming, the mayor emphasizing how she feels the city is prepared to assist the state with relocation efforts. Those services, she says, will expand to more shelters. In addition to the Alaska Airlines Center, the Egan Center in downtown Anchorage and Fairview and Spenard neighborhood rec centers, she says will also be used. With so much shelter needed, I also asked the mayor if the city is prepared to deal with both incoming evacuees and the city's homeless population. She says that's 2 separate responses.
We are ensuring that we have emergency shelter for evacuees who are in a different situation. They've lost their homes. They've lost so much and are disconnected from their communities. And so those are separate approaches. And as part of supporting the state's response, we'll be, working with partners to ensure that we've got the resources that people who are here in Anchorage who've been displaced need.
And as the city will take a day-by-day approach, we'll continue to monitor what that exactly means, as well as how prepared statewide communities are with resources for arriving evacuees. Johnson Kuhn, Alaska's News Source.
A former Typhoon Halong not only causing housing concerns, also questions about education for children. Today, the Anchorage School District sent an email to families detailing a plan to welcome displaced students. The district has activated its Emergency Operations Center to help provide students with things they may need, and that includes emergency supplies, transportation, mental health services. ASD says they welcome all students, different cultures and languages with open arms. And from Anchorage to the Bering Sea, signs of winter beginning to set in, even as recovery efforts just getting started. Melissa Fry, chief meteorologist, joins us with a look at what's ahead for the areas impacted by this extreme flooding this week.
Yeah, as these communities start that recovery process, the ones that are still there in western Alaska, it's going to be a tough road ahead, and any impacts from Mother Nature at this point will be significant. But here's the good news. We are not seeing any active storms in the region. In fact, right now we are seeing just a little light rain in the area, some cloud cover. We can see there in Newtok tonight, the sun even coming out as water continues to leave these communities. We do have storms lined up, multiple storms moving in from the western Pacific, but the jet stream is going to keep those south through the Aleutians, northern Pacific, pushing into southeast. And that's where we will likely see more significant impacts this week. Southeast, be prepared for rain and wind. Temperatures are dropping, though, already down 5 degrees in Bethel from this time 24 hours ago. And we are going to start to see those temperatures dropping below freezing with each night. So ice, frost, freezing conditions will be a concern across southwest Alaska and even into south central. We'll start to see those temperatures dropping as early as this weekend. I'll have a look at that statewide forecast here in a few minutes.
Well, the deeply personal impact of former Typhoon Halong is top of mind at the annual Alaska Federation of Natives Conference, which started today in Anchorage. And our political reporter, Will Courtney, was there. Will, I hear you have some breaking news for us tonight.
Yeah, that's right, John. We just received this letter. It's from House Speaker Bryce Edgman's office, and it's to the governor about Halong. Edgman is scheduled to speak at AFN tomorrow. In it, he calls for long-term housing and sustainment plans for Halong's evacuees. After that, we got response from the governor essentially saying that he is asking the president to declare a major disaster in Alaska. So right now, Halong is on top of mind for everybody. And some attendees at AFN told me this year's theme, Standing Strong, Standing United, is taking on a different meaning. Since Halong devastated so many communities and villages have been devastated by the former typhoon, here's how some describe the storm's deeply personal impact.
I think it'll impact everybody to let them know how sad and how upset it is, and because this is the biggest storm that they ever had that destroyed villages along the coastal area.
A lot of prayers from here, a lot of people all over Alaska that's here for AFN are feeling it. We all feel it.
It's hard, but just knowing that some of these communities acted very well with no fatalities is a blessing, and it shows how strong and resilient people are and how well they could gather together and make sure everybody's safe.
And all that emotion comes as we now have a letter from the members of the Bush Caucus pushing for a response. As I said, House Speaker is expected to address that tomorrow alongside members of the congressional delegation or the legislature across the bipartisan line.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.